Greetings everyone, this is Gary Hart, Executive Director of the Independent Glass Association. This year we're starting something new for you. In addition to our MailChimp email campaigns for our newsletter, we are now doing video blogging. And to begin with, we're going to do that once a week, and we're going to do it at the end of the week. That way we can aggregate all of the updates and news stories and alerts and whatnot at the end of the week, so that way going into the next week we will have a lot of fresh content and action items for you to take off with. So getting started today, as many of you may know, or this may be new news to you, let's see here, Pilkington beginning February 19th is implementing a 7.5% price increase for the wholesale industry. So that means for you glass shops out there that buy from Pilkington, you will be experiencing a 7.5% increase on your parts that you order from them. So let's talk about that for a moment. As you're aware, NAGS, the new pricing for the quarter, or the however they go about that, just happened on January the 8th. So let's just look at the scenario, because the thing that we've had a lot of discussion over the last couple years, especially going back to that announcement I made in San Antonio during the opening of Auto Glass Week, that started all of the questioning of the NAGS pricing, the big slide, and then they made some adjustments, and then they didn't put out the January release, keeping it for the September release, etc. All that happy fun stuff. Well, since then, we've continued to monitor that from our member shops and non-member shops, and the thing that we continue to see is NAGS release over NAGS release, prices continue to go down, and not by a percent or two, but the most common parts usually by large percentages. And you can go back to all of our blogs, all of our memos on that. It's well documented at this point. So here's our concern now. So we've got this NAGS update, and right now this January NAGS update is in effect until May. Usually I believe it's like probably around May 11th or somewhere on that. Don't quote me on that, but that's normally where it is. So right now, here's one supplier that will be implementing this mid-February, and we're talking 7.5%. Now, depending on who you believe, what you read from Mitchell or Mitchell representatives, NAGS representatives, they're always claiming that there is some formula that ties in wholesale distribution and what shops are discounting on, and it's all this hoopla, this big unknown, and they put it into this ball and we get this NAGS pricing. So what really concerns us now is how are they going to address this 7.5%? Because we know when one vendor does something, multiple vendors do things. This is like the airline industry. If they're going to say, oh, now we're going to have a fair discount in the fall, one airline announces it, all the other airlines go along with it, usually at some point shortly thereafter. So I would say buckle up as far as wholesale supply distribution goes, because this will really, in our opinion, be the first real price hike in quite some time. The one thing that we have been able to notice, and again, dealing with our members and non-member shops, doing formal and informal surveys, is that distribution seems to have been flat as far as price increases and or decreases go. In fact, we don't have any shops that have ever reported that they've seen a price decrease on common parts that they purchase. So now all of a sudden we're going to see an uptick here. And with regards to this uptick, it begs to ask the question, will NAGS in the next release take this into account, or will glass shops be punished from mid-February all the way until the September release? And this, we really want to start having discussion on this, and we want to open the discussion up to bring our suppliers and Mitchell/NAGS to the table and have some sort of online conference or something where we can discuss this, because this isn't going to work. And this model is completely ineffective. When you think about NAGS in general, the thing that really, from a personal standpoint, that I don't understand, this is 2018 now. And how NAGS gets updated quarterly and still shipped on DVDs or CDs, that makes no sense to me. I don't understand why this information can't be real time. Obviously, when you are in your point of sale or you're connecting to your supplier via their website, you have access to all the part information and wholesale prices in real time. Why we can't have this same thing with NAGS is beyond me. Infrastructure should be a no-brainer. Cost for equipment and storage and bandwidth and all of those things are historically at lows. So moving forward with this, we really are encouraging and wanting to open up dialogue with this. So stay tuned as this goes. But if you hadn't heard, that price increase, at least with Pilkington, is coming up, and that goes into effect according to the memo from William George, who's the Director of Business Planning of North America for NSG Pilkington. You can expect that 7.5% increase. So let's talk about legislative efforts real quick. Many of you probably have been tracking the news, especially if you're a shop in Florida, that there is a windshield inspection bill that was introduced when the session started in Florida. And here's what's interesting about this bill. Initially, all the language in the bill supported inspections, and then the language got changed to say, okay, well, the inspections have to happen within a 24-hour period, and there's all this stuff. Let's first and foremost get a lot of things out of the way by saying this one thing, that insurance companies always have the right to inspect. So this whole inspection thing isn't anything new by any stretch of the imagination. An insurance company has the right to inspect the damage prior to approving a claim and or making a payout. So all this is doing is just kind of making it more publicly known maybe. However, the terms that go around it as this bill has moved through committee, this last committee, they struck all of the language that had to do with the inspection, and their real intention got put in with one paragraph, and that intention has to do with the rebating or gifting or cash card or coupon or anything in exchange for making the insurance claim. So we start to peel back this onion, if you will, that it's pretty well known in politics that you introduce one thing that is the smoke screen, the camouflage, and then you dump your garbage behind it, and then you hope to fatten it in another bill and pass it through anonymously. You get all that junk. Welcome to our wonderful world of being dishonest. Basically, what we are understanding right now is happening that because they slammed it through at the last minute with all that strike and with the new language, it is now being kicked back to the original committee. The original committee has to now deal with the fact that the original language is taken out, this new language was put back in. So expect to see more turmoil over this. The nice thing that we can report about this, from what we understand, don't expect this bill to go anywhere during this legislative session. Just look at how it's going right now, who's involved. The real backstory is coming out of it. And again, if anybody would like to know that there are electronic inspections out there, there is a way to see that. The IGA and its members, they have access to a platform called Claim Harbor, and in real time, and we know right now, SGC and other insurance companies are using Claim Harbor to review windshield repair. They're looking at the severity and they're approving the claims, or they're making payments shortly thereafter. So there's already a means that you don't have to send anybody out. The shop only has to take a picture, make sure the damage is noted, get the signature from the customer saying, yep, this is my loss, I'm approving this, and everything. It's that simple. There's nothing else to do with it. So with all of those things happening, expect this legislative effort in Florida to not really go anywhere. Then surprisingly, coming out of Arizona last week, we're talking about Senate Bill 1424, which was actually introduced by glass shops in Arizona. And this really is quite a lot to bite off. However, highly commendable on this group for putting this together, in that they're specifically going out and they're setting certain criteria and expectation. Once again, that inspection aspect of it is coming back into play. And they're also talking about capping rebates, gifting, etc. at $100. They've also mentioned some NAGS pricing, some labor pricing going forward. The IGA doesn't necessarily agree with how some of that language is going about, but the baseline is this is going to get the attention of the industry at large, lawmakers as well. A lot of lawmakers have been highly influenced by the insurance companies and third-party administrators as far as how the industry works from their perspective. And the reality is it's a completely different ball game on the glass shop side. So with that being said, it is very important that if you are an Arizona glass shop, on Thursday, February the 8th, we're talking next week, next Thursday, at 6 p.m. at the Holiday Inn in Mesa, Arizona. The exact address we're going to have up here on the screen for you. They are going to have a meeting to talk about this bill, and how you can participate in going forward. So if you are an IGA member, not an IGA member, the Arizona Auto Glass Association member, whatever the case is, if you are doing business in Arizona as a repair or replacement professional in the automotive glass industry, get to this event. It's either going to be here, here, or here. We'll put that up here on the screen for you. So that is a lot of good reading. And too, we have the link here for you that you can also go check this bill out. Let's talk about scanning. So Auto Glass Week during the ADAS opening and summit, and during our opening and our booth, we are highly encouraging everyone to do pre and post scans of the vehicles. And the reason why we are doing that, the manufacturers, yes indeed, have a mandate out that basically states that the OEM position statements, that they say the scans are always necessarily, especially post scans that are done after repairs are completed. And when you look at these OEM position statements, some people now in the glass industry are arguing, and when I mean some people, I mean third-party administrators and the insurance companies that they represent, are saying that it's not necessary, that the OEM positions don't cover that, and that's not true. If you read the language of these OEM position statements, anything that is mechanically removed from the car, any repair that is done to it, a pre and a post scan may be done. And in some cases, they even allude to, they use the word windshield or glass component. So in any case, pre and post scanning is highly advocated by the IGA. And we also have a link here to an investigative report that was just done by ABC4 WTAE in Pittsburgh with a collision shop on how certain insurers are denying these scan charges. And in fact, this collision repair shop charged $119 for the scan. And when you watch this video, you will be further educated in what these scans do. And the thing that we continue to let everybody know, the check engine light or dashboard lights are not going to trigger or show a lot of these pre or post issues. And examples we've seen, and even in our own testing of these scan tool devices and everything, when we plug them into vehicles, we can see faults with rain sensors and other things that have to do with either door glass or windshield, that now we're assuming that liability. We're coming to this damaged vehicle, we're saying, uh-oh, here's something that's already broken, has nothing to do with us. So if we find it in the pre-scan and it's not corrected during the repair or replacement, and it still exists in the post-scan, you can deal with liability on that side. But if there's nothing that shows up in the pre-scan and you cause something that shows up in the post-scan, such as a sensor alignment, sensors malfunctioning, whatever the case, you now have that ability to take corrective action, make sure that you're putting the vehicle back to its original pre-loss state and putting it on the road safely. So there's a lot still coming about this. Please watch this video and stay tuned. Also remember too, the IGA, we are selling the scan tool device, and it does work in conjunction with the Independent Glass Association's point of sale system that is provided by eDirect Glass, and you have the ability to keep that scan diagnostic pre and post with the claim record in our system, and you're able to make that available not only to your customer, whether it's cash or insured, but you also can make it available to the insurance companies and or third-party administrators. And you should be doing it regardless. Every job should have a pre and post scan. It is for not only your own offset of liability, at the same time though, you're ensuring that the vehicle is returned to the owner, so it goes back out on the road for safe driving. So with that being said, a few things coming up. We do have Auto Glass University. That is coming up here the end of February. We got the information here. That will be in Minnesota. It is the week of the 19th, so still time to sign up and get your technicians there. It's a wonderful opportunity to have the latest training on all of the tools. The IGA will be there on Thursday, supporting the Lunch and Learn and also delivering a lot of this information that you see here. And to kind of close things out for this week, we've got Auto Glass Week, so we're going to put that right here. That is Thursday through Saturday, September 27th through 29th. And this year it is back in San Antonio. So if you were there back in 2016, you remember, great forum, great place to be, convention center, hotel, everything's highly accessible, and you don't need a car. Everything's within walking distance, great restaurants, A great place to be. Maybe pack a few days in or after to see the San Antonio area. There's some outlying areas where you can go check out some of the caves and stuff like that. If you're really ambitious and want to drive about an hour and a half, you can hit Corpus Christi in that whole area and be at the beach. Anyway, Auto Glass Week, put that on your calendar and get ready for that. Other than that, we will be continuing this format. Look in your emails for the GlassBUZZ updates and this weekly video that we'll do at the end of the week again. So on behalf of the Independent Glass Association and our members and the industry at large, thank you for watching. I'm Gary Hart, Executive Director, and I'll see you next week. Have a good one. Be safe out there.